Okay, I hope that's enough warm up. Yes, they are, Rendell. Welcome in. They're kind of the crux of the run. At least one specific drop is. Alright, let's get going. Hopefully we can get an actual runs going tonight. Had a good run last night. Just died at the very end. We'll go with a new one. Switch the order of these two. We go 3, 2, 1, go. A little messy, that's fine. Nope, just right. Thank you. Nope. No, there's no step route in this one. There's take the shortest path except for the detours I need to take. And pray for good RNG. That is the run in a nutshell at the high end. Because you need a lot of luck. Especially in counter luck. My goal, yeah, is to take the shortest path where possible. Try not to make any really step mistakes. Try to step in lower encounter zones like plains versus forests on the overworld. Try to minimize menu mistakes. Try to consolidate as many menus as possible. The rest of it's just execution on reading if something is runnable or not, and if it is, killing it as quickly as possible. But it's optimized enough that there's a high RNG component that has to come into play in order for me to have any chance at a record. Oh yeah, the biggest one is obviously the puzzle. Because it's getting low enough at this point where I essentially need to play the puzzle, win an emergency exit, so that I can skip 2 dungeons. I have to play it back to back twice. Get the drop twice. The drop odds are maybe 1 in 6 on each play. My current plan, while I'm in the middle of like this little re-establishing how to play de-rusting, is I'll play it up to 3 times, trying to get up to 2 exits. If I get at least 1 exit, I will continue the run. I don't even know what I would get with a 3rd exit. If I magically got a 3rd exit, I have no idea what I would use it on. I could use it on Ice Cave, I could use it on... Where else would I need it? Maybe somewhere I get blocked by NPCs. Lufenia has a chance. Kind of a waste to use it there, but if you have it. Exit is, yeah, first trip on Earth Cave and also for Waterfall, because this particular route doesn't use... has to walk it out if you don't have an exit. Waterfall is completely jammed with encounters. Other option is maybe Ice Cave exit after we're done grinding on the ice or on the Evil Eye. That would be like a 3rd option. Not one I would normally do for, because if you get good encounter luck, you can just basically run out in less than the 30 seconds it will take you to play and win the game. Yeah. Got another leather shield drop. I think that's 3 runs in a row now for that. Yeah, saves you the trap tile, saves you the bad luck on there. The encounter rate there is atrocious, though. That's mostly the thing. So we're going to play it 3 times. I'm aiming for 2nd place time, because I have to finish between 30 seconds and 1 minute. I'm trying to finish on the lower end of that. Where's the reset? 6 over there. Okay. No, gotta go. We gotta go over here. Alright, so I gotta wait for at least 30 seconds to go. I'm gonna wait for 32. Give me more chance. Get 2nd place. 30-second timer. You gotta go over here. Did not get the drop on that one. I got a Hermes shoes. Just a haste. Don't need that for anything. Do that. I'll wait again. We'll go for 31 this time. 1 exit, that helps. Okay, now I need a 3rd one to go. Where's the 3rd? Just trending well. Put it there. Wait for 30 again. And that worked. I only got 1, but we're going to continue anyway. I technically tied the top time. So the default leaderboard time is 30 seconds for 1st place, 60 seconds for 2nd place. The drop I want, the exit, only comes if you get a 2nd place time. So I want to place between 30 seconds and 60 seconds. And a 30 place tie, 30-0-0, an exact tie, counts as a 2nd place time. I think technically the most optimal play would be to get a very quick first place time, which would change the second place time between the first place time that you set and 30 seconds. And then if you could do two very, very quick puzzles after that, I think that could technically be faster than waiting for 2 back-to-back puzzles of 30 seconds. You have to get great patterns and be very good at the puzzle. Okay. I have to heal up before Piscadines anyway, so I'll take the opportunity while I'm poisoned on the menu to do that. And I don't have to heal again, or shouldn't have to, prior to Piscadines. Hopefully I don't get poisoned again. Not planning to heal again, unless I get poisoned again. I don't actually know how many patterns there are. Never even tried to guess how many puzzles there might be. Patterns. I don't particularly care there. Tack. Now, the only downside of getting only 2 Piscademons is that means I didn't get... Nobody dies on the Astos fight. I'm going to come up short on the experience that I need to get the magic spells at Alpha. I need either to take an extra fight, or I need to have somebody die on the Astos fight. It is not the black. I could take a fight here, but honestly, I'm just going to wait and see what happens in Astos, and then check the fights I get between Western Keep and the walk back to Alpine. This would probably work, but I'm not going to take it unless I need to take that. Unless I know I need to take that. All I really need, I think, is 1 Ogre plus 1 Gigaswarm encounter. 2 Ogres would work as well. If I got an encounter on the boat, Shark would be the exact one I want. In terms of getting the minimum amount of experience. So that means I'm probably not going to get the experience I need. That should be more than enough to finish this one round. Mage low rolled, that's fine. No problems there. Okay. Yes, these are glitches, and they are supposed to be rewards that you obtain for killing bosses from the extra bonus content in this version. But they can be glitched by equipment swapping because they share an item ID. That's not going to be enough by itself. That's Find out the encounter I want. That plus like one more enemy. Perfect. That. And let's do that. Yes, everyone is currently rocking these judgment staffs because they have more attack power than anything else that I can currently get. And they cast Flare, an on-use effect. AKA Nuke. They're supposed to be obtained from the Super Boss, from the PSP's bonus dungeon. But there's a very easy way to glitch them in and get it on. They also happen to boost intelligence as well on the characters, which helps with running a little bit. Okay, getting that Vegas and Ogre Room, I believe, was enough experience to get level 8. Means I should be able to buy this now. Buy the Black Page, I gotta ether them up now, but I can do that. Use that on sea encounters. Well, I don't have great gear for running away from enemies. I have 2 pieces of glitch gear on right now. I have Judgment Staffs on everyone, and I have a Knight's Armor, which is that extremely expensive armor you can get in Melman normally. Knight's Armor just adds a ton of defense. Let's do this. And the Judgment Staffs give my guys the ability to just AoE everything, specifically the pirates early on and the Piscodemons. So I have ways to deal with groups of enemies that can be stubborn to run from or are objective fights that I have to kill. Much faster than just meleeing one at a time every enemy. Doing one 8-second flare cast will kill everything. The goal of the gear, though, is just to get me high agility gear so that my guys have high survivability and high chances to run away from enemies. The rest of it's just getting overpowered weapons. That I shouldn't normally be able to obtain. Go away, brooms. I don't want to get caught on you. Well, that one was really close to blocking me. But this glitch gear and the equipment glitch that sets it up is the crux of why this particular version is only an hour and 20 to an hour and 30 minutes long. Because it means I just get to keep moving. I don't have to stop and kill things very often. Unless they're being problematic or they're unrunnable. And the glitch gear makes up for a lot of the leveling. I need a lot less leveling. Honestly, I have no idea if Thief actually does do anything with preemptive in slot 1. I've been running this for so long that I have no real clue if that would do it or not. That would be such a dramatic change just in terms of the menu ordering that it would probably mess up all of my menus. It could be a thing, but then the downside is that then the Thief is going to be taking most of the damage. Although he doesn't take as much, because obviously they all have high defense piece of gear on right now, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But the Thief eventually, with all the glitch gear, becomes my highest overall damage dealer on melee fights. I want him to be alive and doing as much damage as possible on fights, but his HP can be a little bit lower. I assume that is still the breakdown of attacks, yeah. I have seen nothing to the contrary of that. Because they haven't made any other changes to the formation that I'm aware of. Now that I put this Thief's Garb, or what is it, Thief's Club and everything? Thief's Gloves, I think is what it's called. On everyone. Adds 5 points of agility for each instance equipped on everybody, and I put 3 copies on everyone. I notably did not put a 4th copy on the shield slot for anyone because the Thief's Glove, if I put something in there and then my characters go to block an attack that doesn't have a programmed animation, it hard crashes the console. Unless I know a very specific gear that is safe to use in the shield slot, I don't put anything in the shield slot on this run. There's only 2 pieces of gear that I want to put in there, which is ribbons, which can fit on the shield slot with a glitch, and survival vests. I mean, there were essentially 2 releases. There was the GBA release, which had the bonus elemental dungeons and bosses, and it had some new gear. And the PSP version had all of that, and then 1 additional bonus dungeon, which had a super boss, which has 8 forms, and each of the forms is a different item drop. For the weapon I'm going to be glitching coming up, the Barbarian Sword is one of the drops. It's supposed to come from killing the super boss Pronotia. And it's got like 125 attack and like a 15 strength bonus, which is well beyond anything else in the game in terms of attack power. Most of this glitch gear comes from being able to glitch items that allow me to get gear that should normally drop from the super boss Pronotia. Some of it is gear that originally was in the GBA version, but the menuing glitch only really exists in this version, and so does the gear. You can't really do this in the GBA version, unfortunately. What are we doing here? We are selling leather shield. So this one didn't come out until 2007. This particular version didn't come out for PSP until 2007, I don't think. I just dug my GBA up I don't think the battery works that much anymore, because I can plug it in and it'll last for about 5 minutes. And then battery dies. It doesn't last long. I discovered that. I suppose that's to be expected after 25 years, though. Although it wasn't a launch model. I had a launch model. I got one the day of the launch, and then I got that modded with a backlight. I suppose it could probably play if I plugged it in. It's got a very short charging cable, though, so I'd need to figure that out. I had an original model of the Advance. That one didn't have a backlight with it initially. I eventually sent it to someone to get modded with a backlight, and then sold it to someone else, because when they made the new model with a backlight, I got one of those. And I've had that one ever since. I have a lot of older systems. I'm surprised most of them work as well as they do. Okay, I only have one exit to work with, so I'm not going to burn it here. Better save for waterfall if I only have one. Easier to walk out of here than it is to walk out of waterfall, just in terms of the encounters I can get. Because there's multiple floors, which can break up the accumulation of threat. There's only one danger floor, which is this floor. And if I get encounters like, if I get encounter look like that, I definitely don't need to run out, or to port out. I'm not going to get that kind of luck in waterfall. I never do. Yeah, it resets on floor transitions in this one. Or location transitions. Basically, if you ever see me get like an encounter on the last step before I'm supposed to get off a floor, you'll find me very upset. That basically just means I was one tile away. It was not a bad walkout at all. And 3 poisons is fine, as long as if they all occur at the same time, I don't care. That was certainly better than average. I didn't get any unrunnables on the way out. I didn't get any really dangerous fights at all. I think I only got the one fight on the 3rd floor, which is the longest one. The only unrunnable is the Pisco Demons, the same fight as the one in Marsh Cave. But there's also undead packs that can do paralyze. There's also cockatrices which can petrify. They're runnable, they're just dangerous. What's up, Trenton? 30 minutes? That's not too bad. For 3 puzzles, that's not too bad at all. It'd be faster, but speed's not... I don't know. Trying to get everything back into my memory, but it honestly comes back very quickly to this game. I've been playing this game for so long that I can like pick this game back up in a day, most. It never takes much longer than that for me to come back to this. I mean, I did a run last night and I got a 124, and I hadn't played this in a while. So that's like absurdly good for a first run back. Usually if I haven't played it for a long time, I'll do like one run, it'll be somewhere around like a 1 hour 40 time, and then I'll shave 10 minutes off in the next one. No real big mistakes so far. I had a couple of menuing mistakes trying to do some glitching, and I was standing around for a little bit trying to sell stuff in Melman before I bought the steel gloves to glitch into the barbarian sword. That's the worst mistake. Can I ride that now? I can probably ride that. Try to ride that as a safety. To heal that when I get to the next... Actually, not going to heal. I'm going to heal him, not status. If I can get away. Let's do that. Alright. The goal here is to try to keep him poisoned when I reach glitch. If I do that, then I can heal him up to full prior to the fight with Lich. And if Lich uses Blizzara, I may have just enough to be able to tank it. And then the poison after the fight will eventually drop him back down to low health. And let me get him killed off at the upcoming grind. I want to heal here. We could, might as well. It's cutting into some of the heals I might need for you guys later, though. This strategy really only works for the warrior, because the warrior is usually the only one who consistently has enough HP to survive a Blizzara Lich. And he might not have enough, because Blizzara can probably do 160-ish. He might take enough damage from the tick poison if he does. So there's a little danger there. Let's do this since they're being stubborn. I don't normally want to take any fights here, unless they're Pisco Demons and I don't have a choice. There's better XP targets usually. The Sage's Staffs, I have a Sage's Staff equipped on the 2 mages, which is plus 10 int on both. It's got 200, beautiful. But yes, they do. The White Mage and the Black Mage both have the Sage's Staff on, which has plus 10 intelligence. And I have no other intelligence gear on me right now. And I didn't need it. That's fine. Didn't need it. But now the poison will tick down on the warrior, and If and when he gets to 0, he dies, and I'm fine with that. I mean, the only other thing that gives intelligence is the judgment staff, which is technically undocumented, but does that. It gives like 3 points of intelligence or something, which is just not. It's not worth it compared to the other things I can get. A new category? It's only when like transitioning into a new location. It's not like transitioning into the docks or anything. It's a little annoying. I guess I prefer sea encounters at this point because they're not too hard to run from. But ambushes suck. Alright, let's get some more gear for glitch. Alright, you... Blackguard, blackguard, blackguard. Right, good that. Oh, I am screwing this up. I had a couple times where I had it right and I just canceled out of it. Probably heal my black man. Don't care that he died. I was counting on that. Alright, we're running danger. I'm not going to be saving. If I die, I die. I mean, potential pitfalls is I can get killed by white dragons. I can get petrified by cockatrices. I could get stun locked by groups of undead. Anything else? Or yeah, mind flayers can do a lot of damage. Or wipe the party with the wrong setup. Should I kill that? I probably should, yeah, since now there's only one guy up. Hopefully he doesn't get paralyzed, let's see. Before he takes his turn. Is unusually annoying. How did I do that? I don't usually struggle that much to run from that group. Oh no, that's not good. That's bad. Running from him is usually pretty easy. Actually, that might be okay. That killed off the guy that I wanted to get killed off. Without having to make the evil eye do it. But now I gotta deal with this. And magic. I mean, that might work out in my favor, but that's usually a very dangerous group. They didn't do their nasty attack that can paralyze everybody. I don't have to do anything. We'll just do it. Just go and start doing this. I'm 11 now. And magic. Alright, so it's level 12. That's 13? Okay, I got 13. Level 14. That's not 14. What the hell? This will be 14. Will this be 15? I'm confused. No, I'm at 14 now. Okay. At this point, everything should be doing at least one level, except maybe 17. 15. $16. I believe this should be 17. Okay, I'll do 2 more. Be 17. Alright, so this is the last one now. Might get me to 18. We'll see. Did. Okay. No big deal. Either way. And while I'm doing this, may as well ether him. Yeah, it's such a gamble. Then you kind of have to take stuff in waterfall, and taking stuff in waterfall just feels bad. Gotta find a way to get it. Just gotta figure out how to do it. Usually just take it 17 and then whatever one after that. Sometimes I get 18, sometimes I don't. Usually I don't. And I also do basically I do shrine, waterfall, and optionally you can technically do Marilith before shopping if you absolutely have to. I like to shop on the way to Marilith usually, but Marilith could actually just go through there and do that as well. A little out of the way to do it that way, though. That's the second cat. I mean, let me get into this cutscene. Yeah, I've been struggling to try to figure out why you decided to do fence. That's right. No, that's it. Okay, that's. I mean, it's not hard to mash potions and ethers, and there's no way that can be faster than. There's no way that can be slower than a 10th. In my estimation. Need those high potions as a safety for chaos. This is the least out of the way place to get it, because I have to run by here anyway. The advantage of running by here is that if the NPC that's behind the shop, sometimes he can be in the way, blocking your one path on the way back here. But if you go in there, and you get two advantages. A, that's the least out of the way place to buy high potions, which you need for the fight. And two, it resets his position so that he's never in the way. I am on point for landing the airship today. No unrunnables yet, so I'm still sitting on level 18 for my mages. I need them to get to level 19 by the time I get to the... and mage. Yeah, I miss the old route. The only thing I really miss about the old route is just having a perfect answer in terms of spells for everything. It was cleaner. We used the class change and then come here and we would walk back twice. There was also an alternate place to pick up an item that we could pick up later. That was along that path. That was debatable if it was or wasn't the fastest, but it was kind of a cool strategy I came up with, and sadly we're the time advantage of yeah. Warp also would save us so much from the waterfall, which is now why we've basically planted it by dropping the class change and then playing the puzzle for the warp instead. The eye? I suppose I could try it. I don't know how bad I need it, but I don't know how much that gives, because I never really paid attention to that. If I don't get any other unrunnables, though, that's probably pretty good. I think they got the level they needed. There's a strong chance they were going to get that anyway on Kraken. Alright, so... Survival, survival, survival. Take them off. Switch to this slot. Survival, survival, survival. Go back and redo survival. Oops. Oh, the equipment glitch. Or the sound glitch. I haven't had that in a while. Well, that's probably gonna mess this thing. This probably would have made up for a good chunk of that. That's the eye. I can check the bestiary. Yeah. I mean, the downside of an eye is that, I mean, I'm getting it and splitting it 4 ways here. I'm getting more overall, but less per individual mage. How is that 3,900? If it's 3,600 for that, isn't that 6,000 total? Like 6,000-ish. Split 4 ways. If I split it 4 ways, it's 6,000 for that fight. I split it 4 ways. It's about 1,500. If I split it 2 ways, it's 1,600 a fight. We get to listen to the music glitch for the rest of this run. I haven't had that in a while. It just likes to cut out. It's more of a console thing. Doesn't happen very often on... Oh, actually, don't think it happens on emulator. It used to happen under certain circumstances on consoles, much more frequently. It can actually save time, because then if it doesn't go off, it saves you the fanfare when you're picking up an item. Alright, that is in the way. That one's in the way, kind of. We used to be able to warp out of this after we got the item here. When we dropped the class change, this became a much, much more painful dungeon to run. Well, look at that. If I didn't need the ribbon, that'd be a perfect spot. Alright, so here... and then you could be... Wait, no. He's not the unrunnable here. Yeah. Yo, B-Dude. Okay. Let's get the spells we need. After we talk to Dr. Oon in the worst spot. I really wonder why they changed him in the Pixel Remaster to, like, specifically shove you against one wall. Just, like, repositioned himself and shove you against a wall for this cutscene. There must be a reason for it. I'm just wondering what it would be. Should I get Lazar today? I forgot to get it yesterday. It didn't come in. It didn't matter at all, but I suppose I can do it. I mean, I've never actually run PR. I don't have any interest in one PR, personally. If it was faster, then maybe it would be. But it's not faster than this version, so I'm not as interested in it. PR is a fascinating Frankenstein of various versions, though. Ooh. Well, we'll be here. I don't get to do that very often. I played PR to get the achievements when I got it the first time, when they first came out 5+ years ago. Has it already been 5 years? Jesus. For the first 3 games have been almost 5 years now. Alright. Heal. I did not. I like FF2 PR, I like FF3 PR. Although, really the only downside with FF3 PR is just that the speedrun devolves into just jump with a Dragoon at the end. For the last 40 minutes of the run, which is not really all that exciting for viewers. A little bit degenerate. Jump heel, yeah. It's a little degenerate to watch. I mean, it's effective as hell, but it's very degenerate. If they made a category where that was banned, I think I would come back to it. It's just not all that exciting. Where are we going? Lufenia. Briefly blanked out right. The one thing that is really confusing about free PR is that at some point they made a very noticeable change to the two-headed dragon boss. Because he, all of a sudden he hits like in a later, some update or something changed him so that he's a lot more dangerous than he used to be. And it was never noted in the patch or anything. So he became a lot more dangerous, and like stoning more than one character became much more desirable setup for that fight because as a result. I would prefer to play, if I'm going to play 3, I'm going to play the 3D version, but I'd play the Steam version that has autosaves and stuff. Actually, it'd be kind of cool to play the PSP version, although it doesn't have any of the glitches, and it doesn't really have any auto-saving, so it's just not really a marathon save. With the Steam version, there's a lot of there's item duping. Oh, this is not ideal. This is not ideal. Okay. The 3D remake version is an interesting run, because you can dupe a lot of the consumable items that do damage, like Antarctic wind and things, which is kind of cool about it. Though it also gets a little samey at times. As a result, you only need to use a handful of jobs, because the jobs are slightly differently balanced. Primarily, you're abusing red mages, except in a couple spots you're abusing scholars. But it's a lot of the fights can become damage races. A lot of darkness is easily the most interesting fight. And I mean, there's some crazy versions. There's some crazy glitches in that version, which are actually really cool. There's a map warp. You can like get off the boat at a certain angle, open up the menu, then close the menu, and if you're holding a direction, it just kind of half zips you in the direction you're holding across the map in an instant. But the problem with doing that is occasionally it can essentially just drop you into the middle of the ocean and you're wandering around the ocean with no real way to get out of the ocean. So you very easy side or soft lock yourself. There's the Nautilus dive glitch where you can like dive in specific map spots to get out of bounds, and then like surface in the middle of the mountain ranges, which is kind of cool because then you can like fly through mountain ranges. So you're not supposed to fly through, but if you warp yourself inbounds, then you can easily get yourself stuck and get soft locked. So it can be a little glitchy, but it's a lot of cool things you can do in that run. Not quite as fast as PR though. And if you want to play it like straight up, you can play the PSP version, which has like almost none of those glitches. But then it has no auto-saving or anything like that, so... And the game is notoriously badly designed in terms of saving and then having to redo dungeons, especially the end game. If you die at all at any point after like the late Crystal Tower, you have to like repeat the entire climb up the tower, the entire World of Darkness. There's literally no way around that. You basically have to just make sure that you can survive any fight that happens at that point, including the bosses. I mean, I would argue that it's essentially... I mean, auto battle isn't inherently bad, because it's speeding up the things that you want to do. And there are tricks you can do. And there's certain ways you can like manipulate it or do things with the action. Like if you want to change rows with it, you can just change row, and if you want to heal with it, you have to be very careful. There's little nuances that make it slightly interesting. And for the most part, when you're using it, you're just speeding up the things that you want it to do anyway. Yeah, it does remove some of the more interesting parts of it. Though I healed though. Okay. If I hadn't healed before this, I would have been more concerned about a follow-up attack. I mean, just in general, they've done a lot of work streamlining how long it takes to do animations and things, so that, and then adding a speed boost on top of that, so that things go just much faster and take a lot less of your time. I mean, if I was to play FF2 PSP, I can do a step-routed run of that. It only has 60% of the encounter total of PR. But PR is still faster just because of auto battling and all the other ones. I mean, FF2 PR has like 400 random encounters. FF2 PSP has maybe 240-ish. And FFPR is still faster with 400 random encounters. We're gonna res you. Just because of how much faster everything takes. But it also helps that like they took out almost all of the unrunnables from PR. There's like 5 total unrunnable combinations left. They made more drastic changes to 1, 2, and 3 in their basic systems to make them more interesting, in my opinion, than they did 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 are a little bit more faithful to their original versions, even though they're definitely still different. I mean, yeah, in the PRs there is a boost option to turn off random encounters if you want to. That's basically a separate category. It's basically like an in-game cheat in that way. So if you want to turn on the option to get 4 times as much experience or 4 times as much gil, you can do that in the boost category. Or if you want to turn off the encounters. It's just its own separate category. It's not against that. Yeah, 4, 5, and 6, the people that are play 4, 5, and 6 much prefer the original versions. Whereas I think the people that play 1, 2, and 3 tend to prefer the PR. Ugh, awful group. And like the relay organizers especially, really like 1, 2, and 3 just because they're PR, especially because they are a million times more accessible. For people. I think this is the first time they're taking PSP since the PR, or FF1 PSP since PRs came up, but the PRs have been a million times more popular to run. Probably should just switch over to Firaga for this, and I'm probably going to get more groups of more than 2 enemies. If I can somehow get no unrunnables between here and Lich, and just use these commands, I get a heal, or I get a haste with the Black Mage. Nope, that was going to happen. And you are in need for Raga, please. Yeah, tournaments are a lot of effort to organize, and as much as I would I miss those tournaments, but I don't feel like there's enough interest right now to do it since the PRs came out. Because everyone, if you have to play, you're going to play on emulator, and nobody really wants to do that compared to just playing on any other PR version, which could be PC, it could be the Windows version. Play Steam. And that's the other thing, is I think most people that got the game in the first place got it on Steam, since that was the first platform it was available for. And a lot of them don't want to buy it on a second platform, even if it's faster. Just in case he can survive, because he can survive a flare. If I, for some reason, go down. Ooh, that's close to a one-shot, though. Thief's gonna die, the Warrior's fine. It's just to make sure that the Warrior finishes that fight off on the second one, if I get flared like that. It's the only reason I haste him over the Thief, because the Thief's gonna die every time the flare. He looks down. I gotta re-ether her again. I mean, we definitely got enough interest for the organizers from top runners for PSP to make them pick that this year, which is unusual, but it's basically all the top runners. It's me, Selma, Sonny. Sonny just got the world record. And more. There's probably other people get sub into that. And it's technically still faster than the other version too. The Japanese runners really haven't taken interest in PSP. They're all over the PRs though. PR, as far as I know, PR's been every year, except for the one year they wanted NES. One year, they very specifically wanted NES. Because they hadn't had NES in a long time. Or maybe ever? I don't know if they'd ever had it before. I don't think they did it the first year it was out. Would have been 21. Pretty sure the relay would have happened after that. I don't think they would have taken the brand new relay for that. So it was probably PSP was 21. That would have been 22, 3, 4, 5. So 3 of the last 4 years would have been PR. Because one of the years was NES. Two has been PSP, I think, almost every year. There might have been 1 year of PSP, I don't remember. Or it's been PR almost the whole time. 3's been PR almost the whole time. I think there was maybe one 3D run. That's wrong. I mean, 3 has been a big problem for them for a long time, though, because 3 really didn't have a marathon safe version until the Steam version got updated in right before COVID started. That was 2020, but they didn't take it to the next year. What a nice save. Like 2021 was the first time they had a marathon safe version of FF3. For so many years before that, they were struggling to get a marathon safe version. So now both versions are basically marathon safe. What are we gonna do? And that was the mistake I made yesterday. I didn't put a barbarian sword on him. Crystal, 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 and you gotta put these. We need ethers. Both of them. Oh shit, it's actually pretty decent time. It's not a bad time at all. I'm not really looking at my timer too much. Where are we? Sonic on here. You definitely get it. Yep. Sonic on him, haste, him, heal, high potion on him, high potion on him. It's 200 max HP. For the duration of the fight. It's only for the duration of the fight. How I should be set up here. Well, the only worry I might have is if he does Tsunami into Cyclone back to back. As long as he's doing melees, I've got nothing to worry about here. Melee's easily the quickest of his attacks. All of his skills are a lot longer animations. Since everybody's close to full, I'm probably just going to risk this. I might lose my thief, but we'll see. Nope, he did Wazaga instead. I should be fine. That's bad timing though, because I could still kill off my thief. They already did Wazaga. So if I'm really unlucky, it's going to kill both the top two. No. Okay. I should be fine, though. Ferdor is not favoring me just in terms of him wasting time, but... I mean, a 125 is not bad either. That's still 6 minutes off the world record, but... as hard as that is to believe, that was actually a pretty decent time. Yeah, that's essentially 6 minutes of extra mistakes in RNG. I had a fight that was going to be a 124 yesterday, and honestly, it was going fine. But the only mistake I made was I put a Lust Dagger on the Black Mage instead of the Barbarian Sword that I intended to put on there in that final menu. And then I got into a really bad spot where he just smacked and killed my White Mage for like 240. I just wasn't expecting that, but I figured I was close enough to far into the fight that I could just ride it out and not heal at that point. So I tried doing that, and unfortunately, the damage from the Lust Dagger on the Black Mage was so subpar that I think it cost me the chance to finish him off before he could wipe everybody. The 125 is pretty good. I should have had a 124 yesterday. I just messed that up. That was my mistake, but that's a solid time. I should probably be using my splits. Did I have 2 eggs yesterday? No, I think I had 1. I did the same strategy I did today, where I played the puzzle 3 times, and I think I got 1 exit out of 3, just like this run. I mean, ideally on a world record run, I want to play it twice back to back, solve it very, very quickly, close to the time limit, which is just over 30 seconds, close to 30 seconds as I can without going under 30 seconds. But I'd want to do that and get exits on both drops. I'm spending maybe a minute to a minute 5 standing still, getting those 2 exits, and then I just have to make up the time that I'm standing still. But I usually save more than enough time warping out of Earth Cave after the first walk-in and Waterfall are the 2 places I play into. The current world record does that, and I believe it also... Actually, I don't know if he utilizes... What he's been doing lately is he also solves it for a first place time, which is as quickly as you can solve it, which gets you a Mega Elixir. And then he uses the Mega Elixir with the White Mage on the first round of Chaos, so that it restores everyone back to full no matter what Chaos does on the first turn, and restores the MP for both mages to full. So he doesn't have to spend time healing. Well, he doesn't have to spend time ethering before the final fight, because he can just throw that instead. It adds an animation time, but it's a pretty solid idea. But then you have to spend however much time it takes you to solve the puzzle to get that in the first place, or you have to get a drop from something that drops a Mega Elixir, which is, I think, is it Dragon Zombies? I'm trying to remember if it's Dragon Zombies that drop that. Yeah, I actually had a pretty good run out of the Earth Cave on this one. I mean, you can technically, if you can run out, you can run out very quickly with great luck. If I had both exits though, I would use one there to skip any of the nonsense that you can sometimes get, because sometimes you can just keep getting unrunnables there, or you can get into bad fights with undead groups that can paralyze you, or you can get petrified. And the route I run, I never pick up gold needles, just because I have enough familiarity with the game that I can basically ride with it if somebody gets petrified, or that just ends the run and I move on to the next attempt. That happened yesterday, I think, halfway through again. My White Mage got petrified in the middle of Ice Cave, and I wasn't able to... There's no real backup at that point. There's like one backup in Earth Cave, and there's one backup later. There's like 2 other spots you can get a needle from a chest, but they're out of the way. But depending on where and on who gets petrified and when it happens, you may be able to recover. But I mean, you're either relying on picking up a needle from a chest, going into a town that sells needles, or fighting a group of cockatrices because they can actually drop them as items. Yeah, it's just there's no consistent like step route in this one. You can run for 75 steps without getting an encounter. You can also you can get an encounter on back-to-back tiles. I mean, there's no minimum or maximum that I'm aware of in terms of how many steps there is between encounters. So you're just basically running and trying to get as few encounters as possible. The only thing I do, which I can show, I'll just demonstrate what I do. At least on overworld stuff. That's really where it would matter here. So I'm taking each of these different encounter zones, like sea versus grass versus forest, they increase your danger at different rates, with forest being the highest. So anytime you see me walking around in the overworld, I'm trying to minimize steps so that I'm on this, which lowers it at a... Or if I can, I'll just go on the ocean and avoid that. And the other difference is that these dock tiles don't trigger any encounters, so I can walk along these as long as I want, and there's no encounters triggered, I think, on this particular tile, which is like the lead into the town. That's the other difference, and then yeah, it's just someone mapped it out that every zone in the game raises it to certain values. It's only really different on the overworld, or like on different floors in a dungeon, or like the lowest floor in Earth Cave is like equivalent to somewhere like a lower tier than other ones. We know that Waterfall is a very high rate of encounters by comparison. So essentially it's just, I mean, there's nothing you can do to mitigate that though. In the middle of a dungeon, you just have to run the path that you have to run. On the overworld though, I'm taking steps to try to go here. Like I'm trying to, like, when I come down here, I'm trying to walk this path here so that I walk the fewest number of tiles in the forest where possible, but there's only so much I can do here, so I'll like come down here, like this little path here, so I'll try to avoid going into the forest here, come down here. At some point I gotta cross over and I try to go here. If I am close, if I haven't gotten an encounter in a while, one thing I could do is I could take 2 extra steps here and go down and try to get to the dock tiles to get over a couple steps without getting an encounter. But I mean, it takes extra steps and it risks still getting it anyway. I could go here, go up here, and then the only tile I can get an encounter on is this one between the two of them. That's little things I can do to try to manage encounters here, which has just been a path I've been walking over thing. The only other really important change that I do is when I come and provoke it for the first time, I go shopping first. Specifically because this pathway between the pirates and the shop has no real NPCs that are in the way. But as soon as you fight and kill the pirates here, yeah, the NPCs can spawn in, and one of them can literally spawn like right in here and block your path instantly. So I mean, we used to fight him first here when I first learned this game, and then you would go shopping afterwards. And part of that was because there was a slightly different route, or if one of the pirates here dropped a leather shield, you could use that for an item, or you could sell it off if you really didn't want it. And you can go shopping here. Actually, we used to shop in Cornelia first and not come here at all. But then, yeah, at some point I realized that like the NPCs spawn in after you take the fight with the pirates. Usually this guy or this chick or one of these two, I don't remember. And I've seen them like just physically spawn in like these 2 or 3 tiles and block this path. So I will shop here, get the items I need, and I will go and fight the pirates after that, and then watch them spawn in sometimes. This Mohawk dude can be in the way too sometimes. A little annoying. Or the guy on the way out can be blocking the short path and just force you to go an extra tile over. I can only play the puzzle I can only play on the ship, which just involves mashing. Not hard to play it. You can play it anytime I'm on the boat. Where's the show? Best times. You can see the best time by default. That's the first place time at 30 seconds. That's the second place time at 1 minute. If I want to get a second place time, which means I have to wait at least 30 seconds to get a second place time, and I have to be faster than a minute. So I have a 30-second window to do that. Yeah, that can be a problem occasionally. There's marsh cave bats, there's earth cave bats, there's waterfall cave bats. There's those NPCs in Lufenia, there's the brooms in Matoya's cave, can occasionally get in the way of that door. Really annoying if they get in the way of the door, because you basically get stuck and you can't move out of there until they move out of the way of the door. There's some really bad spots you can get blocked by NPCs, but it's not typically too bad. Getting blocked like I did in Lufenia on this past run was about as bad as it gets. We also used to run another route that would let us warp out afterwards, so that wasn't an issue for a long time. But on the newer run, now we don't have warps, and now we have to walk back out after that. Well, anyway, the puzzle is just solve it between 30 seconds and a minute. Usually as close as possible to 30 seconds, without being under 30 seconds. If you tie 30 seconds, that's okay, because that considers it a second place. That's the second place. That will usually drop you. You get at least one item. The first item you get is one of 6 items. You get an elixir, an emergency exit. I think it's a turbo ether, a dry ether, and what are the other items? The other items are. What are the other items? Remedy. And Hermes shoes. Actually, that's a perfect. That would be like a puzzle there, because I can get a needle there. I forgot about that. I don't usually get that very often though. I don't remember if it's 2 per thing or if it's just based on if it's your best time or not first. But it logs it. So now if I go into the puzzle, second place time is now between 30 seconds and 30.21 seconds. So if I want a second place time, I have a 21/100th of a second window to get the second place time, which is very tight. Let's see if I can nail that though. Could be possible, so long as I don't get a really bad pattern. This will work fine. Then I just gotta land it inside that. Oh, got it. Okay. And that's too bad. Yeah, it always awards. The first item is one of the 6 it awards. The other ones are. I don't remember if they're random or not. It's usually like Phoenix Downs or items. If you miss the timing and you get a 3rd place time, you can get some various other items, which have very limited value. If you do it too fast and you get a 1st place time, you usually get a mega elixir, which is useful but not what you're technically looking for. I only have to hold it 23 times. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 10, 1, 20, 1, 2, 3, 23. Is all it takes to do it here. And it is possible, I think it's technically possible to be moving and playing the puzzle at the same time. Like I'm mashing the button here. I think it's possible to like mash it so that I'm in motion, and then when I stop motion, it like considers it. There's a way to do it. I don't know. It's not consistent. You can technically do that on the. If you're doing the PSP version of FF2 when you're on the Snowcraft, it actually lets you like mash while you're moving. So the number of I can just like move across, and then at some point when I stop moving, I can hit the left. I can hit the more time, and it will trigger the puzzle instantly. But I can't do that as consistently here. It is possible to do it here in a way. I haven't found a very consistent way to do it though. The only reason I'm doing this puzzle is because the times have gotten so good at the top end of this category that it's almost necessary to get 2 of these to be able to be competitive with top times. And even then, you still need a lot of RNG help. Yeah, there it is. Elixir antidote. Yeah, it is what? Elixir, the emergency exit, turbo ether, dry ether, remedy, and Hermes shoes, I think are the 6 items. I mean, the only one I'm familiar with for PSP is called PPSSPP. I don't know about debugging it. I can't really speak to that. But it was the emulator I was using when my consoles were broken, which they're technically still broken. I just got new consoles, or I guess used consoles. There's some graphical glitches when you play it with that version. Oh, the most noticeable thing I see is when I play it, watch other people play it. You see this transition is like into battle is like white rays everywhere, and it doesn't always do that in PS on the emulator. Sometimes you just see it like be black instead and not display this little transition graphic properly getting into battles. That's one of the biggest differences. That one, there's just some little graphical glitches while you're walking around the overworld usually. But emulator is allowed, just because it's not really easy to get your hands on the actual console hardware in the game at this point. It used to be more ubiquitous before they shut certain storefronts down. Plus, technically I had to soft mod this console so that I could put the game's ISO on the memory stick and run it off the memory stick. Because if I run it off the UMD, it introduces a whole nasty amount of load times that just slow this down so much, and it desyncs the music, which is really annoying. It's not a lot of fun to play. That's gonna do it for me. Fun fact: I own a copy of FF2 PSP, like the actual UMD of it. I've literally never opened the copy out of its box. It's still in the shrink wrap. It's because by the time I was interested in starting to run it, I was just found the way to put it on the memory stick here, and never tried to run it on the USB. I never tried to run it on the UMD, and I don't think I ever will. I still have the sealed copy somewhere. And I do have FF1 on UMD as well. I have tried to run that in the past. I think when I was first learning it, I just played it on UMD before I like figured out how to get the game on it. I was always kind of hoping they would put these versions on PC, but I guess the Pixel Remaster is sort of a half measure that works. It's acceptable. I wasn't expecting Pixel Remasters when they first came out, so I was happy to see them as a new alternative. I wish these versions existed too on PC, but it is what it is. The only thing I really wish they would do that they did not do is make a Mystic Quest Pixel Remaster version. That's one game I've never played in the series that I would not mind playing. Oh yeah, then they put them on Switch too and everything. Yeah, when they were only on PC for a little less than 2 years before the console versions came out, and then Xbox version came out what? A little less than 2 years. When Xbox Windows came out a little bit less than 2 years ago now. Those came out in September of 24. The console versions were in April of 23, and the original release was in July of 21, at least for the first three games. Then they 4 came out a couple months later, 5 came out a couple months after that, 6 came out a couple months after that. The Switch have the PSP and GBA. The Switch does not, to my knowledge. I don't think it does. I know there's a 3DS port of this, but as far as I'm aware, it's only on in Japan, and I do not know if it actually contains the same glitches or not. Specifically, the equipment glitches. If it doesn't have the equipment glitch, it's not going to be competitive. But I don't think they've put GBA or anything on any of the services, like the old Wii U, or no, the Wii Virtual Consoles or the Switch Online. As far as I'm aware, it'd be kind of cool if they did, but they have not done that yet, to my knowledge. Okay. Um. Okay, I gotta go to bed. So, thanks everybody for hanging out. What is today? Today is Thursday. Now it's gonna be Friday. I should keep doing this over the weekend. We'll see. We'll figure something out. But until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. And sending it. Relax, cat. Nah, looks like that's everything. Oh, the limit break's still going. They should be good. Okay, we'll see you soon.